So a few weeks ago we made mince meat for our mince pies, but now we're going to make the mince pies today. And for that I'm going to need some sweet pastry, and I've got the ingredients here. So in this bowl I have 200 grams of plain flour. I've also put in 50 grams of strong flour, it just helps make the pastry a bit better. And I have 100 grams of caster sugar, 1 large egg. I've got about 130 grams of cold butter cut small, and I'm going to put a couple of drops of this vanilla extract in as well. So the way I'm making my pastry, it's going to look a bit backwards, but this is how I do it, and it's a very kind of foolproof recipe. So put your sugar and your butter into the bowl first and cream them. Slowly mix the shit out of them. When that's starting to come together, crack in your egg. If it starts beginning to curdle, don't worry, just slowly add some flour to it. Just going to start slowly adding my flour. Totally forgot to put in my drop of vanilla. I really should have put this in with the eggs, but it can go in now. So, when it's all mixed, it should look like that. We're going to need that. So we're going to throw some flour up in the air, and it's going to land on our counter, and we're going to splosh this down here. So, for kneading, we're going to need some kneading music. Not metal. Ball of pastry. So that's been kneaded for about 4 minutes. You ball it up, and we're going to wrap it in tinklum. Nice pastry there, and I'm going to leave that in the fridge for at least an hour. My pastry is ready, so I'm going to roll it out now. So get a big fist of flour and dust your counter like that. So you're going to want to roll out your pastry. So I cut my pastry in half, and I'm going to roll out one half for the bases and the other half for the lids. I'm going to be using one of these trays, and the more batter the tray, the better. So I'm going to use a little glass that is slightly bigger than the hole on the tray. Okay, and then for the lids, I'm going to use a slightly smaller cutter. So it can kind of fit in. You've got a few mils room on either side. So I'm just going to cut out these are going to be the bases for my pie. And for the bases with the slightly smaller cutter, just cut them out. So I'm going to do a dozen today. The recipe will give you enough pastry for more. There's my bases, my lids, and I'm going to try a bit with some holly leaves as well. So I've got my baking tray, and you're going to want to line it with butter, or if you have this stuff, it's fantastic. Get your little pastry and fit it into the little hole so that it sits plumb like that. Remember your mincemeat that we made a few weeks ago? We're going to put that in. Now the temptation is to put an absolute ton of it in. You don't need to do that. So you need to leave a bit of room at the top. Then just crimp your top around it. So just kind of shove it in and then just stick it. There they are now, ready to go into the oven. Before I put them into the oven, I'm going to show you a little cheat way of doing mince pies as well. So I bought some puff pastry in the supermarket. I'm just going to roll it out. Cut some circles out. I want these ones slightly bigger, so I'm using a mug. Yurt. So I put my puff pastry on some parchment paper on a tray that's going to go into the oven, and I'm going to put a spoon of the mincemeat into the middle. Trust me, a little bit of mincemeat goes an awful long way in this, and we're just going to rub a bit of water around the edges, and then I'm going to fold these over. So take your little mincemeat thing and just fold it over like a dumpling, and then just crimp the edges with your thumb till you have like a little mincemeat puff pastry dumpling. So just before I put them into the oven, I'm just going to give them all a little brush of some egg wash, which is just some beaten egg and a tiny drop of milk. Just going to put a little prick in the top of all of these to let the steam escape, so it won't blow the lids off them. So I'm going to pop them and them into the oven at 180 for about half an hour. Half hour should nearly do it. They're out of the oven. Don't they look lovely? There's little puff pastry jobbies as well. Now, time to taste. Puff pastry one first. Mmm. Oh, bloody delicious. Can you hear the crackling? Mmm. Regular mince pie next. Mmm. Oh yeah. Oh, you can't beat doing it yourself. Flat. I'm gonna be eating these for weeks.